Midrising Conversations. I'm Gill Townsend, and I'm joined as always by Barbara Scalzi. We're
Hello, everyone.
conversations for women in the middle of everything. Hello, Barbara.
Hello, how are we today?
Very well, very well. I can't believe it's been 5 or 6 weeks. Actually, we took a little mini break on our podcast, but we are back and we are bigger and badder than ever, and I'm excited for what's to come. So,
I'm ready.
yeah, that's wonderful. Me too, me too. So today we're talking about why younger women are playing a different game and what us mid-risers can learn from them. So I think often we talk a lot about what the young people can learn from us, but today we're flipping that on its head. And I think there's actually a lot we can learn from the generations coming through behind us, so to speak. And so I wanted to dive into that today and see what we can learn and share with our listeners.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I mean, we do talk a lot about what midlife looks like for us. Yeah, we've been talking about that for a few months now. But what are you actually noticing about how younger women are approaching work life and success differently?
I'm noticing a lot of things, actually. It'd be funny, Jill, because every time we speak, we find that we have completely different views, right? Let's see, let's
Let's
see
see
what
how
we
we go.
discover today. Um, a mix of things. I think one of the ones that almost makes me jealous, and it sounds bad, is that they seem to have a lot more courage that we used to have at the time. Like I'll give you examples, and you think back to whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in planning for the future, their ambitions, their dreams. I remember that we spent so much time waiting to be given permission. That permission that was never arriving, by the way, with difficulty. And I now see these younger women just smashing things, smashing barriers, and just going, I'm not waiting for permission. I want to do this and I'm going to do it. Or even like, it might not be, it might be the workplace, but it could be like literally in your own personal relationships. Think about your, I don't know, relationship maybe with a partner, with a boyfriend, with a girlfriend. I find that when I talk to younger women today, they just, how can I put it, Jill? They just raise the barrier and put the wall and go, no, I'm not standing for this. I'm not accepting this.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
can't change you. You can't change me, but I refuse to stand for this because it's not good for me. And I see the real sort of barrier put up and go, no, thanks. I walk away. Do you ever notice that?
I have definitely, and I think, we probably look at that under the banner of boundaries. Um, and I think for career women, if we just look at career for our age, we I guess didn't put in place boundaries. We were still trying to break down walls. And so
Yes.
we probably sacrificed more of ourselves than I think the women coming up through their careers now in their sort of 20s and 30s need to do. They've
Yeah.
implemented their boundaries and they know what they're willing to sacrifice and what they're not. Whereas I feel like when I was coming up through the ranks, I didn't have a choice. I didn't give myself a choice and I didn't fight for a
Yeah.
choice. It's like, if I want to participate and play this corporate game, then this is what needs to be done. And basically, I did what needed to be done, where I do see a lot more women putting boundaries in place to your very point. And I think that's fantastic. I think, the boomers ahead of us and the generations ahead of them really did pave the way. And I think we've slowly chipped away to fight for our place in society, and particularly business, to the point where now the younger generations can take it to that next level and evolve it that much
Yes.
further to implement those boundaries, which is fantastic. Hopefully they'll have a better work balance life than we found ourselves
Yeah.
in.
Like it brings me back to, maybe we'll talk about that later, but it brings me back to, I'm sure I shared in a previous podcast that when I got pregnant, I waited and I waited and I waited because I could, and it wasn't in my head, it was the reality. My
Mm.
career, I was ambitious, my career would have taken a complete halt if I was getting pregnant too early, right? And now thinking about what's happening now, I'm so proud. I see younger women going, no, 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 I want a family. Okay, I'm stopping. I'm taking my maternity leave. I'm quitting the job. I'm doing what I need to do. And that's the part that makes me jealous and proud at the same time.
Yeah,
Jealous that I wish that could have been me, or I wish I had that courage, or I wish that the barriers or the walls had been smashed a bit more so that I could
yeah,
implement those boundaries. But then there is the pride. There is the pride of the younger women. And go, my God, I'm so proud of you. I don't have any daughters. See, you have a daughter. But
yeah.
my God, it must be fascinating. He must be just excited. And I think you said in the past, you already see a difference with her.
Oh God, she she's going to rule the world one day because she's so confident. I'm raising a young, confident daughter, hopefully showing her that she can be whoever she wants, represent herself, and go and achieve whatever it is she sets her mind to. I mean, that's the biggest gift I can give her, and it's the biggest
Amazing.
gift my mum gave me.
Yeah.
Go out there, work hard, and make the world of it what you will. And I
Yeah.
guess we all navigate that in different ways. Um,
Yeah.
but I think it is really interesting, the pregnancy thing. I was in a different space when I got pregnant with my two babies because I was the contractor. So I just
Ah,
took time off between my contracts.
yeah.
But I never had any concern that I wouldn't pick another contract up as soon as I was ready to go back to work. Thankfully, I went back to where I'd contracted before between the two babies.
Yeah.
I
Amazing.
was welcome back. I was at Macquarie at the time. And then after I had my last child, my daughter, that's when I took the full-time role where we met.
Yes.
But I know it is very difficult for women, and has been historically, but certainly in Australia, I think young women getting pregnant now benefit from a lot more support. There's a longer maternity leave, parental leave for the fathers.
Yeah.
Also, they get
Yes.
time off, whether it's a natural birth or an adoption, or you know
Yeah.
however you become a parent, so many different ways. You're all quite well supported these days.
Sometimes when I hear, I can see things changing also in Singapore, actually. But and again, I get excited because I think, oh my God, I wish that could have happened when it was my time. I'm the one that went away and created a PowerPoint presentation. I'm not kidding you,
Yeah,
to then, yeah, present to HR, right? We talked about this before. How sad is that when you go back to that? I was so terrified they would have meant, and it did cost me a promotion. I said that
yeah,
before. So today I'm proud to see that actually I see a lot of younger women that actually don't worry, do what they need to do. They prioritize themselves. But I'm also proud to see that they seem to be receiving promotions, not what was my situation? You got pregnant at the wrong time. Sorry, let's try next year. No, they get promoted. They get promoted when they're away on maternity leave, or
yeah,
they don't lose their space in the organization. But yeah, I wish that had been different. I felt so terrified.
yeah, yeah. And that's a big feeling. And I'm sure there's probably, to be honest, women out there that still do feel terrified if they're
Absolutely.
they're working in a jurisdiction or a country that doesn't support women.
Yeah,
Whereas I know in Australia we're quite lucky; we have a lot of support
amazing.
these
Yeah.
days. Anyway, a lot of policies and government support that is around. I think also for me, when we look at the differences for younger women, I see a lot more branching into the entrepreneurial life. Um, they're making different decisions. They've got different
Yeah.
choices to what I believe we had. I mean, there was no such thing as, for example, a social media influencer. That didn't exist. You couldn't be a
Yeah.
YouTuber. Um,
No.
you know what I mean? It's like my son asked me, why didn't you want to be a YouTuber? Like, YouTube didn't exist when I was starting work. That's not a thing. Like, you could be a celebrity, but that pretty much meant you were an actor, a singer, or
Yeah.
yeah, a talk show host or something like that on television or
Yeah.
stage. And so I think a lot more are utilizing their one-man band type skills, if you will, in
Yeah.
different spotlights, be it a TikTok megastar or an Instagrammer, or a grey nomad, not a grey nomad, just like a global nomad who's like maybe digitizing some kind of product,
Yeah.
blogging,
Yeah.
van lifing, or what. There's just so many choices. And they're actually, what I love about that is that they're not walking into a ceilinged salary organization. The salary is what they make it. And so therefore, to me,
Yeah.
there's proof. And so what they put in, they're going to get out. Whereas when you're coming into the corporate positions, there's bans all over the place, whether they're real or imagined. There's tiers,
Yes.
there's bans. And
Yeah.
so you really do hit ceilings constantly. And then it's like, how am I going to jump the next ceiling? How am I going to get to the next ceiling? What do I have to do? But these girls are out there smashing it, earning much more than we probably have in our entire lives, Barbara, and they're 23.
We really we should have done that. I completely agree. But the other thing I notice is also back to what you said about the salary. They don't worry about the salary. For us, you're right. It was like a constant battle. The next promotion, the next this, the next this. And by the way, the 7 million steps you had to go to and the barriers you had to
Mm,
overcome. And
yes.
then you get to a point where, oh, you pay too much for market value. And you go, what? No, no, this is what your company thinks. But I see
Well,
that
men
they
are
don't.
getting paid double, but mind you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I see that they just don't care about it. They go, I have a dream, I have a passion. And you're right, I'm noticing entrepreneurship starts so much earlier now. Was when you read, when you read those statistics, for our generation, a lot of us just take that courage when you're around midlife, towards midlife.
Yeah.
Was now they start much earlier. And you're right, I see a lot more girls, a lot more women doing this than
Mm,
before. Before, I think I grew up in a world where to be an entrepreneur, I imagine you had to be a man. I never even considered
good
being
point.
one.
Mm, yeah. I love that women today just don't have that barrier in their minds, that it
Yes.
doesn't cross their minds. And I do hope
No,
that we've helped again pave some of that way. And to your point, just on the midlife piece, yes, the numbers are skyrocketing for women in their 40s and
right?
50s who are becoming small business owners, who are taking on the entrepreneurial life. I think there's some stats around Australia that the majority of small business owners are women. So we have
Oh.
overtaken that from the men, and we're smashing it, of course.
And does it happen to you when you talk to your friends? I realize now that I have very good friends still back in Singapore or in UK or in Italy a bit less. I think in Italy the it's a little less open-minded in terms of again because of the barriers that you've been given, put in front of you all of your life. Yeah, it's not through lack of desire or ambition. But I see quite a lot of friends. If I think back to my friends here in Asia, I see a lot of girlfriends that they reach midlife, and you're absolutely right. They might still have their corporate job because that brings money and it helps paying the bills, and that's okay.
Yeah,
But I see a lot more having their side business, which clearly has been a passion for a long time,
yeah,
and that passion was just a hobby. And then slowly the hobby is actually transforming into, oh, you know what? I'm going to make it real.
mhm,
And it's also starting to become in the heads, maybe that's going to be my future. And a few of them, are
yeah.
now launching into, I've registered the domain, I've done this. I have a really good friend who she's always been fabulous. And we always said to her, you're just so good. You listen, you understand, you help us get through difficult times. Anyway, she clearly has a gift. And she took this coaching course and training, and she's been practicing for a few years. And I love to see how clearly she's been fabulous at that all her life. And it became something she was interested into something real that will be her future. Another one loves, sewing, and she's creating and painting, and that's going to become a future.
I think that's wonderful. And one thing that really stood out to me in those stories, Barbara, is the support that women are giving each other. you know,
Yes.
and that is in itself a bit of permission. When you've got your friends encouraging you and telling you, go for it, have a crack, that's sometimes all the permission that a woman needs just to take that
I
step
agree.
and to
Yes.
turn the side hustle into the main hustle. I mean, I've been in a
Yes.
side hustle, out the side hustle. I've pivoted my side hustle 3 times because I just thought that
You're
I'm
an expert. But think about it. You had that entrepreneurship in your head for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been running it since 2017, to be honest.
There you
My
go.
side hustle, and yes, it's definitely, I've done the sewing thing. It's taken on many
See?
forms and it's about to reform. So, yeah, I mean, you evolve with these side hustles too, because we evolve as people. And so
Yeah.
I think when you're not under the thumb of a corporate governance structure, the innovation that comes to you, that floods your body and your mind, and the excitement that comes with ideas and the art of the possible, because you can make things possible. It's down to
You
you.
made me
That's fantastic.
you you made me think of all the organizations that have the innovation lab,
Yeah,
and then you realize that there is really you might bring in people that have really good ideas, but then they're not allowed to execute on it.
very
So
few. You know what?
innovation
I'd love
is
that
killed.
stat, Barbara. I would love to see that stat of how many hackathon days have been had and how many ideas have come out of a hackathon day that actually made it to production. So if anyone listening out there has
Yes.
stats for us that you can share, because we have been in companies that have had their hackathon days and their innovation days, but how many of those ideas actually see the light of day? Because I can
Yeah.
tell you, my innovation comes when I have time to think, not when I'm working
Yes.
60 hours a week. Uh,
Yes.
and so it's very hard to say, right, boom, innovation, 9 till 12 p.m., go.
Yeah. I
Not really
agree. And
how the brain works.
it's back to support.
Mm,
And well, when you are in a corporate, permission. Someone needs to decide to invest into that. So I've seen independent from the company, so many, whether it was a hackathon or just, some young interns. Oh my God, I love people that come in with fresh graduates, people that have new ideas. They're excited. They
yeah.
see things that they just go, why are you doing it this way? Why didn't you, did you
Oh,
think of
yeah.
doing it? Do you remember those days, Jill? Why aren't you doing it this way? And normally people look at you and go, oh, because that's how I've always done it. Okay, let me think. But then they will come in with a brilliant idea, but that brilliant idea will never see the light of day. It will go into a
Too
list,
many old
backlog.
people, the boss, I don't like
Yeah,
change. I'm all for
yeah,
innovation and change and automation, or I miss automation. I love it. Anything we can automate, we should do it, so that we can do the more exciting things. But yeah, change is hard on that regard, and we've probably gone completely
I
off
agree.
tangent. So let's go back onto tangent. Um, so yeah, I think we've covered the boundaries and the different avenues and choices that women have now. It's fantastic seeing that really taking off. So is there anything younger women are doing that you look at and think, honestly, I wish I'd had the permission to do that?
Yeah. Okay, let's go in a random order rather than order of priority. The first one that comes to my head is no, I wish I had the courage to say no much more often than, and I do say no a lot, but when I was younger, I think I practiced a lot and I got much better at it. But when I was younger, I wish I said no, no, this is not good. No, this is not going to go. No, no, I'm not accepting this. And
Yeah,
if I refer specifically to my work, to the workplace, again, independent from which organization I was in, and it was always corporate.
yeah,
I am now in my own different journey now, but before it was always corporate. All these walls, all these barriers, and I wish I had the courage to say no and eventually to leave much earlier than what really happened. I've been in organizations where maybe I've been there 4 or 5 years. I wish I had the courage after 2 years to say, you know what, I'm not accepting this, rather than stay and suffer for the next 3 years. And actually have my ambition suppressed, having the good old, Barbara, we love you as you are, never change, but can you just stop saying things the way you say, trying to push me in the box that we discussed in one of our previous podcasts.
yeah,
Then at some point I was in an organization for much longer, 13 years. But when I think back, Jill, you know why I lasted so long? Because I would move department every 3 years. But even with the move, I remember after a year and a half to 2 years, I would always hit that wall of, no, I want to do things differently. I can see how things can be better. I have new ideas, but nobody wants to listen to them.
yeah. I think that's when I've experienced that, and when I've certainly witnessed it of others. It's I think you get the pushback when people start to feel a bit threatened of you coming through.
Yes.
Um, and one thing that I've noticed about women, particularly the last role I just had, I really enjoyed a lot of my team meetings, and particularly some of the meetings with customers where the younger women of tech are talking so confidently, so boldly, that they are just rolling in and representing. And
I love it.
I have never had that feeling of equalness. I have, in my entire career, always felt that I
Yeah.
needed to do more to be
Yeah.
seen as equal. These ladies, probably 20 years younger, I don't know exactly. They're rolling in and they are running the show, and I'm sitting back. I'm just going, you guys are fabulous. I loved
Oh
it.
my
They knew
God.
their stuff. They knew how to talk their tech to their customers to get what they needed. They drove the conversations. There was no permission seeking whatsoever. Very articulate. And I'm just like, this is the new woman is an equal. And certainly I have not seen that my entire career. There's many, many meetings we've all attended where most of the women don't even speak,
Yes.
over the past 20, 30 years. But now they're coming to the table and they're meeting the men really well. And I like really did enjoy that, being part of those meetings. I'm like, I'm sit back and loving it.
Do you know, it makes me think, have you ever seen that there was some article or maybe something about the seat at the table? Maybe it was Lean In book, can't remember what it was. When they say, all these women, you're gonna have to bring your no, I think it was there is no seat for me at the table. And then I
Mm,
remember one day, I actually think it might have been a TEDx talk, and there was this woman speaking up, and she was saying, "You're approaching it wrong, my dear friends." And she was saying, if the table doesn't have a seat for you, don't sit there complaining that that table has been created for men. Just bring your own freaking chair, roll it in. So what you
roll it
just
in.
said made me think
Like
of that.
backwards, I'm coming in.
Yeah, the women that you're talking about, I can imagine them. They
Yeah,
have no problem with that. There's no space for me. I'm going to bring my chair. Excuse
yeah,
me,
I'm
move
coming
them
in.
aside and
There's work
and
to be
own
done.
the place. Oh,
Yeah, no, it's
that's
fantastic.
fantastic.
And so that's I think one of the big changes I see then would be the confidence, that's
Yes.
coming into the meeting rooms now. Loving it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
Um, what so what do we have that they don't? What does experience actually give, us that no shortcut can replicate or that they can learn from us?
The first thing that came to my mind is funny, trauma.
Trauma.
Let's put that aside. That trauma. However, no, honestly, the trauma that we have been through actually has helped us harness the courage, the way to deal with things. It's almost like it's been a tool, actually, thinking about it. It gave us, remember when I was talking about the backpack? It's almost like it's giving
Yeah,
us a toolkit because we had the opportunity to practice through trauma and pain and whatever, but we had the opportunity to learn how to negotiate. We had to do so much negotiation just to survive in this environment.
I was going to say
We,
stakeholder management.
right? We learned how to influence.
Mm,
So actually, think about when you're saying, and I don't know, that it might not be the case for any, for all these lovely women who are taking on the world, younger women. I think they will need some experience to negotiate, to influence. They can
yeah.
go with all the courage and all the confidence in the world, but they're going to hit roadblocks. So I think what we have that they don't have is that we practice so much, and we have to be thankful for all the practice because that's what took us to where we are now.
If I dare say, our fight style is quite different, right? Where we, to your point, we've had to really navigate and crawl our way
Yeah,
through, and up ladders and all those sorts of things. I think
yeah,
that's our fight style, was learning to negotiate, to influence, to
yes,
be seen, and to be presented and present ourselves in particular ways. Whereas I think the younger women are just, they just assume they deserve that
yes,
right,
yes,
and they do. And showing up that way is going to get them far, just as we have
absolutely.
our way in
Yeah,
a different style. Um, but yeah, definitely, I agree. Like the influencing, the stakeholder management, the maneuvering, the all the things that women are really good at, and women,
right.
they obviously will bring that to the table as well. But I think the assumption of I deserve to be here is very, very different between the different generations.
Yes, I completely agree. But then I also think, what else do we have? And I don't know, tell me what you think. I think we suppressed the courage to change things for so long. And now we're in midlife now, we're changing everything. My God, we're doing it. We're not scared anymore. I wonder if, I don't know, I wonder if the younger generations, if the younger women still have this not the, almost lack of courage to make change? I don't know. Do you ever see that?
No, I'm not sure about
Not so much,
the
right?
courage to make change, to be honest. I feel like the younger women are far more ballsy. And that's,
Get on fire.
you and I are a little bit different. We are ballsy.
Yeah, okay.
But if we had to generalize the broader group
Yeah,
that's
okay.
beyond us,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
everyone is as bold and ballsy as the two of
Yeah.
us. But
Okay.
I think I do see women coming through a lot stronger. But I was just thinking, like, what do we have? I think if you think about how all our relationships have been formed through our career, they're generally in person, and we know them very well, and we carry
Oh,
people
yes.
with us from place to place. I think a lot
Yeah.
of difference now is that some of their early relationships that the younger women may be forming are online, and they may
Oh, yes.
have met some important stakeholders or whatever. But also, does that mean they can reach more people? Like it's got multifacets, that, because
True.
traditional relationship building is in person, and I guess we've all had to adapt. But I've still got friends from when I worked with them in the 90s, and you carry them through
Yes.
your life. And again, I'd love to hear from some younger women. How do they find building professional relationships amongst their different jobs, whether they work in like for themselves? How are they building relationships, or whether they work for someone else? How does that fare them? Because we know that relationship building is one of the most important things you can do for your career.
Absolutely.
Because you may be someone's boss one day and they'll be yours the next. They open doors, you can
Yes.
open doors,
Yeah.
you can get sales. Like there's like, as well as having a nice relationship with them, of course, there's so many positives to having good solid relationships that are real and not just necessarily, I don't know,
And
formed.
you're right. And think about in all of the years in the past, think about if you are in an organization, you're absolutely right. I felt that the relationship really started properly when I met the person in person, face to face.
Yeah,
A video, it's something, it's okay for certain things, but the moment, even if I had conversations by video with people for 6 months or a year, and then I met them in person, I feel that the relationship really started then,
100%. And wherever
right?
possible, I always want to try and meet people as quickly as possible. Even in my last role, I said, right, I've got to get to Melbourne. I'm going to meet this team. I want to meet them in person so we can kick things off on the right
Yes.
foot. Because it's an energy exchange.
Yes,
One
I
of the
agree.
things that you can do in a relationship is you share energy,
Yes.
you exchange it,
Yeah.
and that's what you bounce off. That's what you vibe off. That's how you love or not so much other people, if the energy's matching.
Yeah,
And
I
I think,
agree.
yeah, you can only do that in person until they come up with some kind of vibe machine.
And I even remember, and I'm sure it happens to everyone, I remember having challenging working relationship with some of my colleagues. And then they will be on the other side of the world, and then there will be maybe an offsite. We'll get all together. Oh my God, we will come out of that with a completely different perspective, a completely different relationship.
100%. I've had a few people tell me over the course of my career that I'm so much nicer in person.
You have?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about it, when you're working with people, especially globally, often the only time that you will speak to someone is either early in the morning when you're not working,
Yeah.
or at the end of a very long day where you're just like, let's just hit this agenda and get off this call so I can either go and
Or,
have dinner with my family or go to bed. So they don't always
or
get that best side of you.
I thought of another situation, which is, or you are on a call with them because you are trying to influence them or negotiate on something, or you're trying to tell them that things that work well on the other side of the world don't work so well on your side of the world. So you get frustrated. And that's how
Mm,
the relationship goes.
yeah, yeah,
I can
that's
think of
right.
many of those.
Yeah. We've all had a few of those, Barbara. Yeah, global working is probably a whole other beast that we can tackle another day if we.
Yes.
We're almost out of time. I think we've got a couple of minutes. Let's just see if we can do one more.
Mhm.
Um, okay, if you were going to take one thing from how younger women operate and apply it to your life right now, what would it be?
I don't know. Oh, stop apologizing. I still find myself apologizing to people. Sorry, sorry. Stop saying sorry. I mean, unless you've done something bad, of course.
Yeah. Then you must apologize. No, I love
Yes,
that. I love that. And I think just showing up as though we belong there
yes,
is just
yes,
stepping into the space that's ours without apology.
exactly. Yeah. What about you? What
Yeah,
would you
that would
take?
be it as well. Just showing
Same.
up as though I deserve to be there and,
Yes.
place to be there. And
I imagine ourselves carry our own chair. Is Rolly. We'll
yeah,
carry whatever it is. I don't need someone to give me a chair. In fact, I don't even need a table. In fact, I'm standing. I'm here.
we're at the table. I'll lay on the table. We'll dance on it. Either way. Well, thank you very much, Barbara. It's been delightful as always. We are out on all the socials. You'll find this on YouTube. You'll find us on Spotify, Amazon, and you will hear from us again next week. Thank you very much and chat then.
Bye bye, everyone.